Okay, so welcome to today's video, guys, which is featuring a product called Kurk. Now, Kurk is a company that has managed to extract curcumin from turmeric. Curcumin is the active ingredient which has the anti-inflammatory properties that most people search for in turmeric. Let's see how this product lies up. Initial impressions of Kurk and the unboxing. Now, I have been using this product for over 6 months now, so it isn't an initial unboxing. I have done that, and I can link that video. But the packaging is nice. I find it really solid. The bottles themselves, they're robust, they feel heavy, the sort of yellowy orange branding, the writing is nice. It does feel very, very premium, I have to say that. It's something that I look out for a lot in the product. If you're spending a lot of money a month or a year on something that's supposed to be benefiting your health, I personally want it to look good, and this definitely does, so it's a great start. The general user friendliness of Kurk is outstanding as well, whether it's the customer service, the way the website performs and the information available to you, or even the corresponding emails in the weeks after your order. It's all a very streamlined and professional process. So Kurk comes in a few different flavours. I've been working with them for a little bit of time now. The initial one I had was the orange. Now that didn't offend me. It was quite a bitter taste, which I didn't really mind, but it wasn't very sweet. And I did find it difficult to take in water just alone sometimes. But having said that, there's now new flavours. So we've got vanilla, which is absolutely lovely, and then the newest one, which is lemon. So my favourite is vanilla. I like lemon, my favourite's vanilla, and the reason is because you can mix it in like milk and tea, and the sweetness of that makes it actually quite a pleasant drink. I actually look forward to drinking it, but in any of them really, they're not offensive, and it's easy to take any of them. So how do you take them? You've got to shake the bottle well. So you've got to have a good old shake. And then the pipette and screw is self-administering. So it's really easy. All you do is squeeze, make sure it's in the liquid, release, and then that pipette will measure the dose you need, as you can see there. In it goes. Okay. Screw back on. Now, one thing I would say is do not get this product, which is why I'm putting it down there, on anything white, especially your clothes in. So here's one I made earlier. Stir the Kurk. That's quite important. Make sure it's stirred. Otherwise it becomes less pleasant. Pop that down there, and then simple as that, you just drink the drink. Tastes nice. It's worth mentioning that I'm trialling Kurk from a personal standpoint. As you can see in this video now, there's a disc prolapsing. Not very nice. I did that when I was 17 years old after a traumatic injury, and I've suffered on and off for 20 years. Managing my low back pain is something I have to put a lot of effort into, and Kurk has been a godsend for me. Now, I think it's worthwhile pointing out that staying consistent while taking Kurk is absolutely essential if you want to maximise your benefits. So it's not like taking an anti-inflammatory tablet where you may feel results quite quickly within very short space of time. It isn't like that. It's a different product and it works differently. So you do have to be consistent in how you take Kurk, which I have been. So sporadic dosing and missing weeks at a time, you're not going to maximize the benefits you could have if you take it properly. So that's something that's worth mentioning. You do have to adhere to it and take it as they instruct. Okay, so this isn't a week-by-week vlog of me taking Kurk. I've done that on my social media channels, which I can link below, and you can watch a week-by-week opinion of how I felt taking Kurk, almost literally day by day over the first 6 to 7 weeks. So that is available. This video isn't about that, so I'm not going to go through it all again in as much detail. But what I will do is quickly touch upon how I did feel. So week 1, very little change, if any at all, which you would probably expect. Week 2, maybe minor change. I thought I could feel some difference, but again, I wasn't quite sure. Week 3, I certainly started to notice some change happening. I felt physically better. My low back pain was easing. Quickly in the morning as well, I felt more limbo and was able to get up and move quicker. And then by week 4 then, I was certain that things were absolutely changing. I was also feeling better in myself as well. And that makes sense. If you've got less systemic inflammation, you're going to feel better. And there's going to be a lot of things that benefit from that. And I certainly think I do and did and still benefit from the general anti-inflammatory properties of taking Kurk, not just my physical ailments. That's something I generally believe in. By week 5 and 6 then, I was convinced I was in. I totally felt the benefits a month and a half in, that my back pain was better. My shoulder pain I just started noticing was actually not there when I was throwing a cricket ball towards the end of last summer. And then And then just generally feeling pretty good. So it's not going to be a quick fix. You're not going to feel better the first week. Of course you're not, but you do have to stay consistent. And I generally felt that over the first month, then I did start to notice some good symptom relief that then moved into the second month. And that's what I've stayed then.
So let's deep dive into how Kurk actually works. So historically, turmeric was thought to be anti-inflammatory, and in essence, that's not wrong. I don't upset the turmeric lovers here, but taking a teaspoon of turmeric once a day probably isn't as effective as you thought it was. The reason is the active ingredient curcumin, which is where the Kurk gets its name from, is what we need out of turmeric. And only about 2% of turmeric is curcumin, so you'd need roughly 26 to 28 teaspoons of turmeric to get the recommended dose for it to be clinically relevant. And that's a lot of turmeric. Kurk have managed to do is they've managed to extract curcumin from turmeric, which is probably the easy bit, some might say, but then they've managed to formulate it so it's easily absorbed by our bodies. So then the curcumin is bioavailable, which means our bodies can access it really, really effortlessly and then use it for its anti-inflammatory benefit. Now, to go into the weeds a little bit more, with studies that were done previously, the most benefits were seen when Kurk was actually, or curcumin I should say, was actually injected into individuals, so straight into the bloodstream. And that's what Kurk have managed to do, not inject it in the bloodstream, but they've managed to make it virtually as available to our bodies as when that was injected in. And that's where the magic lies. So they've done a fantastic job of creating an excellent product.
So just to reiterate, I have a fairly active lifestyle. I train quite a lot. I try and eat a good diet the best I can. I'm not perfect, but who is? Well, some people are, I guess. But I understand what is good for my back from an anti-inflammatory point of view. I understand how to manage it, and I understand that back pain comes and goes. However, I cannot change what happened to my back 20 years ago. There is change there that can't be undone, and I do suffer more symptoms and more pain than if I probably hadn't done that injury. Kurk then is a way of life, I find. I've started involving it and included it in my daily routines, and the results have been really, really positive. The fact that I love that it's natural, it's plant-based, it's not any chemical or toxin that's been put in my body, really makes it for me. I now find that I can get back to training early in the mornings, which is what I prefer to do before work. I feel I got more energy then, but I was steering away from it because I used to feel stiff and achy for a good few hours after getting up. So now this has given me the ability to get up, feel less pain, and get moving. Because I used to feel pretty much worn out all the time, which wasn't a nice feeling. But thanks to Kurk, those things have changed.
So there's very few products I've trialed in the last 10 years that I think are absolutely outstanding. This is one of them. I've been using it personally for, approaching 6 to 7 months now. I'm just coming into the 7th month, and I've noticed a humongous change in my low back pain, which is the reason I'm doing these videos, which is the reason I'm trialing all these products. I suffered a traumatic injury to my back when I was 17 years old, and it's been a bit of a rocky road ever since. I'm 37 now. I find the anti-inflammatory properties I get from taking Kurk are second to none. My stiffness in the morning has decreased noticeably. It's still there, I'm not going to say it's not there, but it's gone from a 5 to maybe a 2 out of 10. My pain levels have decreased as well, markedly. I just find I'm able to be more active sooner into my day. I don't need to warm up per se, when it used to take me an hour or two to really feel like I could do anything physical, and that's just not the case anymore. So that's absolutely excellent. And another problem which I used to have was my shoulder. So I play cricket and throw in, and over the years doing that, your shoulder does take wear and tear. I've been having shoulder pain for about 3 years. I got full range of motion, but that achy pain when I throw a cricket ball has been quite prominent and has affected my enjoyment, I suppose, of playing the sport. Maybe a coincidence, but since I've been taking Kurk, that has reduced significantly. Again, it's not gone, but that has eased from probably a 7 out of 10 down to about a 1 or a 2 out of 10. I don't think it's a coincidence. I think it's all attributable to Kurk. If you want to ask me, would I recommend this product all day long? It's absolutely excellent. If you're suffering with aches, pains, stiffness, you need to get onto this.
So some fun facts about Kurk. They're a pretty cool brand. They're like this guy behind me. Now, Kurk was founded when actually one of the founders of Kurk was suffering with his health and was looking for alternatives to traditional medicine and options, and therefore the company was born. Something that I find particularly cool about Kurk is they manufacture themselves on site. They do their own product development. Everything is driven in-house. There's no middlemen. So they make the product, they tweak the product, they perfect the product, and then they give it to us, the consumer. They're cutting out the middleman, and I think that's absolutely fabulous. Something else I personally find really attractive about the company is they're UK based. That doesn't matter, but to me that's an absolute big huge yellow tick in the box. I just like the fact that they're in the UK, they're manufacturing healthy, good quality products and then shipping it to us.
Okay, so to conclude today's video on Kurk, what do I think? I said it's excellent. Kurk has sent me these products over the last few months. That is true. I haven't paid for them so far, but they have not asked me to say anything in particular about their product. They've welcomed my feedback on numerous occasions, and they've been a great company to work with. I do have an affiliate link, however. If you'd like to buy the product, you can look in the link description below, and it will give you a fair amount of money off, which is excellent. What else is to say about Kurk, apart from if you're suffering, you need to try it. It's plant-based, it's vegan, it's natural. What's not to love?